Greetings and welcome to Make Programming Fun Again. In today's video we are going to be building a website, and I made a poll on my channel last night, and I asked you to help me pick a stack, and in this poll I was intentionally vague. I didn't want to tell you what project exactly we will be building, but actually it's also related to Bitcoin. So I know I'm kind of like 8 years late to the party, but I made a video about Bitcoin a few days ago, and it's been my worst performing video in several months. And actually I made a lot of research for this video. I was just too busy to make a proper edited video. So I just made I made it almost like a live stream, and apparently this gopher eating bitcoins in the desert did not really perform well as a thumbnail. So instead I'm just going to build the whole Bitcoin website from scratch, and I'm just going to record it all. And the reason we're going to need a Bitcoin receiving website, I mean, we're going to build like an online store or maybe a point of sale software, and we're going to build it in Go, and that was the result of yesterday's poll. And the reason we're going to be receiving Bitcoin is firstly because I want to learn how to receive Bitcoin without any additional software, and I want to understand how it works. And last but not least, we want to sell merch to our wealthy friends in Iran and Russia. So I'm going to start by creating a project. MKDir projects. I'm just going to call it MKDir projects, cd projects, and I'm going to MKDir really I just want to build kind of a Silk Road clone. I'm just going to call it Kinu no Michi. I think this means Silk Road in Japanese, but really in modern day Japanese they just use a katakana. And I'm going to initialize a Go project using Go mod init github.com/moros/kinu no michi. I'm going to initialize a Git repository. Git init, git add, git commit -m initial commit. Okay, and now we can write some code. The main.go, package main, func main. And right off the bat, I'm going to install Chi router. This is a router, and I know there are some people who insist on building using the standard library router, but what this standard library router lacks, in my opinion, is middleware. Okay, router equals Chi new router get / handle index or something, log print f listening on listen on equals port 3000, listen on in here, log fatal, HTTP listen and serve, listen on, and the router. Okay, now we have to define this handle index. And it's going to take a response writer and a pointer to a request. And for now we can just print hello world in HTML. fprint ln response writer and hello world. And if we go run, we should be able to see it in the browser. Okay. And I'm going to be using a program called JJ as a replacement for Git. So do not be surprised if I don't use Git commands. Okay, Git status is okay. Hello world in router. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to install is going to be Temple and SQL-C. So Temple is a templating language for Go. Quick start installation, and I'm going to add it as a tool. And Go install tool, like so. So now we can add a directory called templates, and I'm going to add a helper file, helpers.go, package templates, and just this for now, and another file called layout.temple. Package templates and temple layout with title string HTML. This is so annoying. I have emmet incorrectly set up, and if I use it incorrectly in Go code, I'm getting useless emmet. I'm getting useless emmet autocompletion, but now it doesn't work in an actual HTML file. Can I get it working in here? Yeah, this is so pointless. I'm getting emmet inside of Go files, but not inside of Temple files. I will have to figure it out. And title, and this is going to be children, like so. And I'm also going to create a package called handlers, because that's where I usually define my handlers. And I'm going to move the router to this package, handlers, func router. I'll just call it router. And yeah, later on this is going to take a connection to the database, and it's going to return an HTTP handler. So in main.go router, and this and this, return R, like so. And no, I don't want I want v5. Okay. So R is going to be handlers, a router, Okay, I'm going to have to import it. github.com moros kino no michi handlers. Okay, does it still work? It does seem to still work. Great. So next we can try and get this template working. And I'm going to add this temple generated files to gitignore. So anything that ends with _temple.go has to be ignored. So now you can see that this file was ignored if I refreshed this view. And inside of this router, of this handlers directory, I'm going to create a new file called page controller. And I'm going to define a page controller as a type. And I'm going to I'm going to implement a constructor. Return page controller, like so. And on this page controller type, I'm going to implement a function called index. And this is going to be the handler itself. So HTTP response writer and a pointer to a request. And we can take the templates, layout. Okay, we want another template, I guess. pages.temple. I haven't properly figured out how to structure these files. This is not going to fly in the long term. Pages index. And yeah, and it's going to be embedded in the layout. And yeah. This is rendered by temple. Okay, the templates, I'm going to have to regenerate pages index render in the context of the request and to the response writer. So now if I restart the project, no, it's not this one. Okay, in the router, we need to specify what we're going to be using. The pages controller. Pages index. Okay, great. I guess it would probably also be nice to, be able to get a temple working correctly. It used to work correctly before. What else? Okay, I think it's a good time to commit. And the next thing would probably be SQL-C. Okay, this doesn't seem to have a dark mode. And since I am on macOS, really the best way to install it is using Homebrew. So brew SQL-C, and here just brew bundle. And then in the meantime, while this slow as heck command is running, we're going to... Okay, and we can also install Goose this way. Yes. And Goose is a migration tool for the database, and we're going to need it to set up SQL-C altogether. And getting started with Postgres, and we can define a SQL-C YAML, and version 2 SQL engine is PostgreSQL. Queries are going to be in where was it? Well, how did they structure it before? I think in DB. I'm going to create a directory called DB migrations and DB queries. In DB queries, I'm going to use something like products.sql. And I think it was like db/queries/everything squeal, and then schema is going to be in db migrations. No, actually, I've had it set up in a different, wait, configuration. Schema. Okay, directory of of migrations. Okay. I guess this is going to be good for now. Do I have Goose? Okay. So now I'm going to set up some environment variables. I'm going to create two files, .envrc and .envrc.sample. So in .envrc sample, we're going to define a database URL. We're going to define a PG database, and I'm going to call it Kinonomichi development, and then export Goose migration dir. It's going to be db migrations, export Goose engine, I think it was PostgreSQL, and export Goose what do I usually have to set up in Goose? Oh yeah, and Goose was with connection string. Migration dir Goose driver it was. Goose db string is going to equal database URL. And then this database URL, I think, let's see how sparse we can get and get away with it. Create db, create db Kinu no Michi development, PSQL, Postgres, localhost at localhost/Kinu no Michi dev. Okay, and SSL mode equals disable. Okay, it remains to be seen whether this is going to fly in the long term, but Postgres localhost /PG database. Okay, I'm going to copy the sample envrc to this envrc derenv allow. So now can we, okay, if we just type PSQL, we're going to be connected to the working database. Can we get Goose create to work? Let's start with creating like products. Create products squeal. Okay, and in create products, I'm going to create a table. Create table products, and it's going to have an ID, and on purpose I'm going to use UUID, and the reason we're going to be using UUID is kind of exactly what I outlined in the previous video, because we're going to be using UUIDs to derive wallet addresses, Bitcoin wallet addresses. So it's going to be the ID, UUID, primary key. And I'm not going to set a default value. We're going to have to set a default value every time we generate one. Title is going to be text not null. And slug is going to be text not null unique. Base price. So the base price is going to be, we're going to have to pick like an actual currency. And I think in most real world use scenarios, we're going to be using an actual fiat currency, and then we're going to try to convert the price into Bitcoin using a recent exchange rate. So I think I'm just going to call it base price euro, and it's going to be decimal, and this means it's going to accept any type of any precision, and we're definitely going to need decimal for Bitcoin values, because they tend to have like very, very small decimal parts. And this is going to be not null, and I will set the default to 0. Then description maybe, text, and then insert it at timestamp 0, not null, default now at time zone UTC, and the same for updated that. And in the done section, drop table products, goose up. A non-dialect. What dialects do we have? Postgres, okay. NVRC is it has to be Postgres, and then we copy this NVRC sample to NVRC. No, this NVRC sample. This is also NVRC. It's the Postgres like this. Okay. Goose derenv allow and goose up. Okay, so if we open the database and open this product, we get, okay, we can see this this table has been created. So we have goose working. Now can we get queries working? Let's say name list products many. Select everything from products, order by ID, descending. What does SQL generate say? Wait, I don't think we have specified anything, have we? Okay, I think we have to specify something more. Code gen. Okay, generate. Go. Package. Queries. Out. Gen. Okay, output directory for generated code is going to be db queries. And should I use database squeal or PGX v5? PGX v5 supports pooling, and it's actually quite good. Let's check cpgx. PGX. Do we want this or not? How does that differ from libpq? Okay, it's so this blog post from some guys seems to say we need the actual, PGX driver. Okay, I'm going to go with PGX. So this SQL driver is this, and then SQL package does this work with just, yeah, okay, I'll go with like the full thing. SQL package is going to be PGX v5. And can we get something to generate now? Yes, we did, and it's in the wrong directory. No, I don't want to generate it in here. Not here. Okay, so I'm going to have to move this to a new directory. I'm going to rename this to squeal. And squeal C. Okay, so yes, these queries are going to be in db squeal, like so. So now if I run squeal C generate, we're getting a query like this. Okay, it seems like it can work. So in main.go, I'm setting up the router. I'll use some middleware. Logger, real IP, and what else can I get? Request IP, request ID, and maybe what does content char set? Okay, well, no. What does allow content encoding say? No. Compress. Yeah, we're going to set this up later, but for now this should be good. And the last thing I think I need to do is we're going to have to set up a mod. And mod is a restarter. So, yep, I'm going to install it using go get tool, go install tool, and inside it we're going to be watching all temple files. So oh no, we don't have to do it. Temple, okay, so daemon plus sig term temple generate watch, like this, and then for all Go files that are not test files, although I don't know how soon we're going to have any tests, we just do daemon plus sig term go run, like this. So now if I run mod, we can, okay, we got we have a restarter, and now if I change something in pages, changed. Yep, that was pretty quick. So, okay. I'm going to commit. Set up SQL C and Goose. And by the way, I told you that the brew file is the best way to install things install SQL C and Goose on macOS, but actually Homebrew works just fine on Linux as well. And if you are on Windows with WSL2, You can also install Homebrew inside WSL2, and then you can use the brew file as well. It's, we all know Homebrew is slow, but it works. So, I'm also going to install Tailwind, and I'm going to lock the version of Go in this project to the one I currently have installed, and I'm going to lock a version of Node and npm like so, and installation. I'm going to install these two packages. Did we get, okay, we have a package JSON now, great. And do we? Okay, great. And we're using Tailwind CLI. So I'm going to create a directory called assets, and inside this it's going to be source app.css, and it's just going to be this statement for now. And we want to build it like npx tailwind css/cli input assets source app.css output assets source assets dist app.css, and I think we have to say something like watch equals always, because we are going to be running this command in an environment where there is no. Why doesn't it work like this? Package. No. Okay, wait. npm install tailwind css/cli. Okay. And now will this work? Okay, I think it. Okay, we got a large CSS file. Okay. So now I'm going to ignore the generated files. So assets dist is going to be ignored like so. And I'm going to add this command to package JSON. So watch is going to be this. So npm run watch. Okay. And okay, of course these files don't exist, so it's assets source app.css, assets dist app.css, and then for deployment we'll do something else. I think we'll cover deployment in several videos after we've done something interesting. And in mod.conf I'm going to also run this, so npm run watch. So now let's see if we can actually get this working. Class bg salmon. Okay. Is there actual? Why isn't it in like salmon in color? Okay. Oh, because we have not added this style sheet yet. So in the layout, we're going to have to link rel equals style sheet, href equals assets app.css, and we're going to have to define a router path for it. And I'm just going to look at my cheat sheet, which is one of my recent projects. So this was okay, it was called oikaze. And then in main.go, I'm just going to copy this. I find it very confusing every time I use it, but now we have Tailwind. Great. And is it going to be rebuilt? Yep, it gets rebuilt. So this means we can commit, set up Tailwind, and I'm going to create a JJ bookmark, set main, and I'm going to create a GitHub repository, gh-repo create. Public. JJ git push allow new. Okay, gh-repo view web. Yeah, okay, that worked. And I'm also going to add a license. Okay, I cannot do it because I'm not signed in. BSD free license. Uh, 2025 Carol Moros. Okay. So now we have SQL C, we have Goose, we have Tailwind, and we have mod for restarting. So I think we can write some HTML, and this is going to be very white because right now we don't really have a dark mode yet. So sorry for burning your screen. In the layout, okay, this is going to be the root layout, and I'm just going to call it root layout for now, and I'm going to define another layout called just layout. It's also going to accept the title as a string. It's going to embed this root layout with the same title, and inside it we're going to define a div class. Yeah, I'm going to go very dirty Tailwind style. It's going to be a flex call, and height screen, and this is going to be the so-called sticky footer. And then header, which is going to have the height of 80 pixels. Okay, yeah, good. At least I'm not getting any auto-completion in temple files, but at least I have this tailwind LSP. And it's going to have the background of salmon. And so this is going to contain the name of the website. Can I get the Japanese keen? Okay, that's the that's Japanese for Kine no Michi, and children in here, and then a footer class. And you know what? Actually, I'm still going to give it a class of navbar or something, because I kind of like semantic CSS. Footer class equals footer. Background is going to be cyan, and we're going to add some text. So copyright 2025 by Carol Moros. So as we can see now, we have this header which is 80 pixels. It just looks very large because I have this 200% scaling. So on an actual screen it could look something like this. And yes. And yeah, I think I'll try and get like a nicer looking layout. So this footer could be something like gray 100, or maybe in gray 200. No, 100 was fine. And then text center, flex, flex call, items center, justify center. So this is centered now, and if I define a height of 80 pixels, this is going to be large enough for now. And then for the header, this is the name of the website, so it's going to be text to XL, LG text for Excel or something. Okay, and then this navbar needs to be a flex item center. Okay, great. And then we also need to, okay, in pages, I'm going to remove this. And we can add some product categories. So for now I think we can just hard code these categories. And I'm going to do this in this helpers. In this helpers directory, I'm going to define a type called menu item, which is a struct, and it's going to contain a label, which is a string, or it can be not public. Href is going to be a string. So var menu items is going to be an array of these, and so the label could be something like fruit, and vegetables, and books, and then firearms, and something like controlled substances, no, cosmetics, and now we can iterate over these in the layout. So a nav and for item in the range of menu items, and we can define an, okay, this should technically be a UL, just, you know, I think for some reason you have to specify this as a UL, and then li href equals item href and label. Did this compile? Okay, cannot use item href as temple save URL. Okay, so this has to be temple save URL. Undefined label, okay. Items label. Okay. So now we have this, and this nav can now be with your UL class equals flex cap1 cap4. Okay. Okay, this is one rem, and item center justify space between. No, justify between, maybe. Okay. But this header should be width full. Okay, why doesn't it go to the right? Header. Yeah, this is justify space between, and we're getting space between. And then on the sides we can add some padding, and great. So right now, obviously, all of these pages are going to be broken, but this doesn't really matter. We now have a category structure. Maybe we could also add like a home. And also when we click on this we should be able to go to the home page. Okay, yep, this is okay, great. And I think in the next video I want to, we're going to get a dark mode so people don't complain, and we're going to display a list of products, and then we can build a we can build an actual payment integration. And I don't know if anybody is going to watch this video, but I'm pretty certain more people are going to watch it than my video about Bitcoin addresses. But that's fine, because I'm also going to include Bitcoin address generation, and I'm going to include receiving payments in Bitcoin in this series. So if you like this video, which I can't imagine you would, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you did not like this video, please trash me in the comments. And for me, it's just a live stream, and I'm going to build this project anyway. And I'm just streaming it so people can watch it and give me some traffic. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.